Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
With the tumultuous 2020 coming to a close, it may be a good time to ponder, what has the year taught us? For all the havoc it created, the COVID-19 pandemic may serve as a catalyst for a universal transformation. Continue watching to find out more.
If you hear the word balao, it means you are being greeted with a hearty hello in Sango, the official language of the Central African Republic. I'm Tina. The warm-hearted people of the Central African Republic are elated that amidst the turmoil of this year, you have remained upbeat and upright. Clearly, God's light shines bright in you. Welcome to our show. The future is in our hands. The year 2020 in review. What a year 2020 has been. It may forever be remembered as the year of COVID-19. As of December 2020, over 75.7 million cases of COVID-19 have been reported around the world. The global death toll has exceeded 1.6 million and is still rising. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, projected that in 2020, the global economy will shrink by more than 3%, the worst since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Pandemics have come and gone in the past, proving that we humans are a highly resilient species. However, the confluence of an insidious pandemic, a locust plague of biblical proportions, and an unusually high number of climate-related natural disasters such as we experienced this year are unlike anything we have seen before. We have been amply forewarned of such events. Expert bodies like the World Health Organization, or WHO, and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, have indicated for years that most emerging infectious diseases are zoonotic, meaning originating from animals, and that our livestock factories and wet markets are ticking time bombs for pandemics. A 2013 report by the Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, of the United Nations goes so far as to say livestock health is the weakest link in our global health chain. As for climate change, scientists have been sounding the alarm for decades. North Carolina, USA's state climatologist Dr. Kathy Dello recently said, "It seems like this is what we always were talking about a decade ago." Unfortunately, repeated pleas by climate scientists in the past decades have largely been ignored. And now, climate scientists say that much worse climate disasters are already baked in. World Meteorological Organization Secretary General Dr. Petteri Talas explains, "We have injected more energy into the system because we have trapped more heat into the atmosphere." Colorado University Environmental Sciences Chief Dr. Walid Abdelati, former chief scientist of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, also expressed his serious concern about the impending climate disasters in an interview this year.
I strongly believe we're going to look back in 10 years, certainly 20, probably definitely 50, and say, wow, 2020, that was a crazy year, but I miss it.
So, what are we to do? In trying times such as this, humanity has often turned to the enlightened ones for answers. One who walks among us today is Supreme Master Ching Hai. For decades, she has tirelessly and compassionately advocated a panacea for virtually all ills on earth. It hinges on the fact that practically all our earthly woes are the result of the human habit of consuming animal products. The following excerpt from a conference with Supreme Master Ching Hai in Frankfurt, Germany in October 2009 is an example of her concern about the danger of pandemics stemming from animal products.
Animal diseases from the horrid, filthy livestock raising environment are responsible for 75% of all the emerging infectious human diseases. And they are often contracted by us hunting after the animals or forcing them to stay in a crowded, filthy place to be massacred for us to eat. This is not the way God intended for us to live with our co-inhabitants. This is not the way we should behave as children of God.
In a conference in London, England, UK, she discussed the connection between our climate crisis and livestock.
As you know, according to a UN report and scientific evidence, CO2 is not even the most lethal. It's not even the most deadly of all the pollution. Yeah? I give you some example. For example, methane is like 23 times more potent than CO2, yeah? And nitrous oxide is approximately 300 times more potent than CO2. You see? And livestock is the number one cause of methane. And byproduct, also nitrous oxide, is also from livestock.
The best thing is stop eating meat, stop killing animals, stop raising animals. Then the methane gas and the nitrous oxide gas will stop. And then we cut already a big chunk of pollution of our air. And we cut off the global warming process. And I said already 80% of it will be cut almost immediately. And we can see the result in a few weeks.
We are grateful to Supreme Master Ching Hai for her loving guidance. Her messages about climate change are well supported by landmark studies such as the World Watch Institute's iconic report, Livestock and Climate Change in 2009. Fortunately, even before COVID-19, a rising wave of conscious consumption and veganism has been sweeping the globe. According to Globe Newswire, one of the world's largest newswire distribution networks specializing in the delivery of corporate press releases, market research has shown that the global vegan food market size has consistently grown every year since 2015 at roughly 10% a year. It expects the vegan food market size to further reach a value of approximately $31.4 billion by 2026. When COVID-19 struck in December 2019, it lit a fire under that trend. Polls indicate that a desire to build up one's immune system against the coronavirus, coupled with increased media scrutiny about the link between animal-based foods and infectious diseases, are taking the plant-based food movement to a whole new level. In the USA, for instance, a report compiled by the trade group Plant-Based Foods Association, or PBFA, and market research company Spins found that sales of plant-based meat alternatives increased by 148% in mid-March 2020 compared to the same time period last year. Also in the USA, a survey conducted in April and May of 2020 by the International Food Information Council, or IFIC, found a significant rise in plant-based food consumption among US consumers. Key findings included approximately 70% of consumers consider protein from plant sources healthiest. 28% of consumers are eating more protein from plant sources, with 17% eating more plant-based meat alternatives. 24% are eating more plant-based dairy. Significantly, a follow-up survey by IFIC in July 2020 found that 4 in 10 people, or 39%, continue to eat healthier compared to pre-pandemic times. Thus, ironically, for all the havoc it has created, COVID-19 may serve as the catalyst that propels the vegan movement to the next level of growth that is needed to save the planet. To be sure, for the time being, only 14% or 1.1 billion people globally are vegetarian or vegan, with 78 million of them fully vegan, according to one estimate. However, if the bulk of this year's seismic shift towards plant-based eating sticks, the power of exponential growth is such that it will not take long before we see a stunning transformation of the world. Take the UK, for example. According to a survey of 2,000 people across England, Scotland, and Wales by the Vegan Society, the number of vegans in Britain had risen from 150,000 in 2014 to 276,000 in 2016, and then to 600,000 in 2019. Then, a survey by Finder.com found that the number of vegans had increased to around 1,100,000 people in April 2020. Amiable viewers, as the curtain is being drawn on 2020, there has never been a more important time for New Year's resolutions about our future. As we usher in a new year, let us consider one thing. The simplicity of the vegan solution belies its power. If we had the astounding power to precipitate the pandemic and climate crisis by our inappropriate food choices, surely, by the same token, we have the same power to turn things around by superior food choices. Our window of opportunity is closing fast. The IPCC's 2018 special report, entitled The Special Report on Global Warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius, indicates that we have only a matter of years left to take drastic action. Isn't it time to heed all the warning signs of nature and quickly adopt the appropriate diet? It is often said that hindsight is 20/20. We pray that we will not one day look back at the year 2020 with regret that we did not take to heart the hidden message of COVID-19 to forgo animal-based food, but rather will celebrate 2020 as the year that humanity awoke and pivoted towards a resplendent vegan world and golden era. Awakening viewers, thank you for joining us today for The Future is in Our Hands, the year 2020 in Review. Coming up next is Educate Your Children in a Logical and Truthful Way, Part 2 of 3 on Between Master and Disciples, right after noteworthy news. May you live moment to moment in gratitude, always bathed in celestial bliss.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/VEG.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/VEG.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/VEG.
Chương trình của chúng tôi cung ứng nhiều ngôn ngữ, xin xem suprememastertv.com/schedule và suprememastertv.com/VEG.